Greetings folks, today I am in a sharing mood. Tell me, what is the weirdest message you ever got on Discord? Mine was this.
So that's the real.
Do you know what language is this? It could be an ancient aboriginal dialect, spoken only from a secluded tribe on Sentinel Island, where any foreigner is instantly killed, or an alien entity trying to make contact with humanity, or just that friend who is there to remind you that you could be rich like him, you could be very popular with the ladies like him, but in the end, you cannot escape RuneScape. This game is kinda funny. You set yourself to make a build, then it turns out into a complete trash fire, and then it becomes something else completely that magically work. I wanted to make a rogue, then it became a knife juggler, and then it became a Bladancer. This build plays slightly different than my usual builds. We have a lot of mobility, a lot of dashes, we slide, go full Neo in the Matrix and slow time down to a crawl while we stagger enemies and make them implode. And then we quickly realize that another mob is looking at us. We quickly run away like a scared child because if only he eat us, we are gonna implode under the weight of a collapsing neutron star. If you enjoyed this build, let me know in the comments, and if you want to help me out, please leave a like or even subscribe for more gaming degeneracy. On to the build. Okay, let's look at our stats. These are the minimum requirement to use our gear. However, I'm gonna put a small asterisk here because this is not a normal build. A lot of it will depend mainly on you and the upgrades that you choose to get. And I will explain this in a very simple manner. Yes, we are a critical strike build, so investing in perception is gonna reward us a lot. However, the statistic that we must not lose track is gonna be strength. And there is a reason for this. Armor weight. We need to put that armor weight in light at all cost. If we can't, we need to remove gear pieces, because our main item, the Smuggler Knife, will give us a lot of critical damage if we can get up to 5 dashes. Why this is not a problem? It literally doesn't matter what pieces of gear you remove, because with our knife upgraded, the damage is gonna be higher than the one that we lost. Ideally, however, we would not want to lose our helm, because it's super light anyway. So, based on that, I would invest heavily in strength, depending on your level. This is, as I said, the final setup. And then afterward, we dump all points in perception. This build is very squishy, however, we can slow time when we slide. We have 5 dashes, so naturally, do not face tank stuff. Okay, let's look at our skill tree. We start with one-handed, not daggers. Leveling up as daggers in this game is a nightmare. We don't have that many daggers to begin with. So, agile fighter, powerful blows, unending assault, 2 points in ambidextrous, symmetrical combat. The alternative would be adaptive. If you want to go with adaptive, the build will have more damage. However, you will need to go with a sword, an axe, and then a dagger. And I want to make a dagger only build. Then we go in Godly Physique, Executioner. This build will survive on Stagger. We don't take anything in Endurance. In Dexterity, we are gonna invest immediately in Temporal Sleep, which will help us keep us alive, especially in fights. You can proc Temporal Sleep by sprinting, and then you swiftly crouch to sneak, and the time will be slowed. You can repeat this as much as you want, just disengage and do it again. We don't get the extra dash now, later. Nothing in Spirituality. We go in Practicality. 3 points in Exploitation of Affliction. Nothing else here for now. We go in Perception, and we start to invest immediately in our crit. Only 1 point here. So, unless you want to use a bleed ring, which I don't suggest, you will have to depend on bleed through deep wounds and our dagger tree later. However, first, let's go on priority. We go for Bloodthirst, so we have a self-healing, otherwise we have nothing. Then we finally go in dagger, 1 point in Serpent Swiftness. Perfect. Now, Lingering Affliction, 1 point. And then we max out Razor Edge. This way we have a bleed source. 1 point in Deadly Remedies. Then we go in Dexterity because by now we are pretty far into the game. We get the extra dash. 2 points in Stuck in Peril. We go into the Armor tree. Endurance training, otherwise we cannot meet armor weight threshold. 1 point in Inner Strength. 3 points in Deep Wound. 2 points in Raising Scourge. Okay, these are all the core points necessary for the build to work. We are not a dot build, so we do not take potent poisons, because ideally stuff will die before we get into this uncomfortable situation. Where can we put extra point after we meet our requirement? Well, our weapons are not very heavy, but you can still go with 1 point of Great Theft. You can go with 3 points on Unstoppable Momentum for extra stamina cost reduction. In this build, we don't go in stealth, but if you want, you could technically go Assassin Doctrine as well if you want. However, landing those backstabs is not super easy and it's very situational. Then we finish up Serpent Swiftness for more attack speed. We can max up armor value, or you can even go in Best Offense and fully in Conversion. These are all extra points. It will only give you more damage or more survivability, whatever you like. It's not as important. And as you can see, after putting all the points and the attributes, we're back into lightweight. In combat, do not be afraid to dash if it saves your life. This build is very squishy, so you need to be reactive on what you do. Alright, let's look at our gear. We combine the Smuggler Knife with the Vanquisher of Buns. Both daggers are from Act 2 and they are super easy to get. Moreover, we add some poison relics because from my testing, sometimes I struggled with the poison application without the relics. So if you don't want to use the Vanquisher of Buns, you could use another type of dagger. There are some options in games, but will require some changes to the build, so it's up to your personal preference. Of course, we use the Poison Ring in combination with this. We are not using the Bleed Ring on this build because we create Bleed from the Dagger passive that has a good chance of our attacks to apply it, and from the Critical Strike passive because this way we can free up a ring slot. We use 3 pieces of Crow for helm, pants, and chest. The chest can be replaced freely, use whatever you're comfortable as long as you do not increase the armor weight too high. If you do not want to use Crow, you could use a physical attack helm, you could use Lancelot, you have many options, really, this is really not important. For back and gloves, we're gonna use Duel Knight from Abigor. Remember what I said, you can use other gloves, but we need to be careful with the armor weight, because I rather not wear a glove or a back item than lose 1 dash on this setup. So you will have to figure that out. For amulet, we use Stonewarden. This build in final setup, the amulet is really not that important. Stonewarden is a crafted recipe that you get in Act 2 from following the blacksmith questline. For ring, we are gonna use the Swordsman also from Act 2. As you guess, most of the items in this build are from Act 2 with the exception of Crow, which is from the final reward from the Children of Morrigan questline that you get in Act 3. And then finally, another key item that we must not miss in this build, however it will come pretty late, the Duel Knight boots, which will give us our extra dash counter. However, it's a heavy item, so you will probably want to reduce the weight. You can do this through a blacksmith bench. Keep in mind that the cost will increase with every single weight reduction. And this is pretty much all our gear. In this build, you can do pretty much what you want, as long as you have a Smuggler Knife and ideally the Duel Knight boots. Everything else can be argued about. Do not skip the tutorial, this is quite important because you will miss out on a lot of experience, bonus HP and gear. Get the bonus HP statuette, get the athlete ring from killing the pugilist in the dungeons. If it's too hard, since it's a hard fight that is meant to teach you how to dodge, you can range him from above the small hole. Get the HP ring from the locked cell. get the physical damage from the sunken ship. Before leaving the tutorial, kill Asmon Karadok for that sweet experience gamer juice. Do not try to fight him in veteran in melee unless you are
low tier god.
In Act 1, do all the shrines. The wolf for sneak damage, the bear for physical damage, and the deer for bonus speed. In Act 1, all the knives will suck, so if you plan to use knives, it's up to you, I take no responsibility. My suggestion is to use Ravencrest Executioner from Bromar No Face. Be careful because he really hits you hard. And then you can get the Sting Sword from doing the Queen Bee questline by siding with the Queen Bee. Or the Drowner's Sword from the Shady Merchant questline. All these are good leveling options, you can use what you want. In case your points allocation is different from what I did and you put more points in spirituality or whatever, just use a origin potion in Act 3, the game has so many potions of origin already. Sadly, I did not find any other way to work around this Act 1 dagger problem, so this is my take. Before you leave Act 1, speak with Uguay in the camp and buy the Pilgrim Bone for free attributes. In Act 2, do all the shrines, then buy an item from Bonksy and from Field for free attributes. And trade in 10 health in the Red Dead Fortress for even more free points. Don't worry, you will recover those HP when you get to the Shrine of the Bear in Act 3. And finally, in Act 3, there is a free item waiting for you to just go there and speak to the NPC. All location of all items discovered by the community are on Map Genie, the link is in the description, don't be afraid to use it. The Smuggler Dagger is quite easy to get, it's one of the first things that you can do in Act 2 after you get to the main city. You just need to go where Filth is located, do a little bit of jumping and there it is. Our second knife is gonna be a little more tricky. You will need to speak to an NPC and indulge into his mushroom-obsessed talk. And if you choose the right answer, he will finally reward with your knife. The Swordsman Amulet is super easy to get as well. Just a little bit north, you will have to kill a couple of bandits and loot a barrel. Poison Ring can also be gotten early in Act 2. So that is very good. Just go in the Swamp Crypt and loot it from one body. The Stonewarden Talisman need to be crafted. It's a reward from one of the blacksmith quests. I am pointing at the location here. You can just go there. You don't have to have the quest active to get the reward. Now, for the Duel Knight Set, you will need to kill all 3 duelists. And finally, only then you'll be allowed to go in the final instance to kill Dramus. However, on this build, I highly suggest you to bring some consumable like throwing knives, because Dramus has a super high melee retaliation. Most likely you will kill yourself just by going against him in melee. Once you finish the instance, you will be kicked out. You will have to walk back all over again just to loot the body, so don't forget to do that if you want the boots. you can get the cross set at the end of the Morrigan questline, which will last through all the 3 acts. So you need to start the questline in Act 1, or you cannot get the set. You start here, you free the guy in the cage, and then you follow the questline. When you reach the point of meeting Self, do not kill her, just side with her, and then you will continue the quest.
You won't get well. All I'm pleased.
Well, thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a like and subscribe for more content. If you have any question, any doubt, let me know in the comments. Have fun playing Tainted Grail, and I will see you in the next video.